Welcome, everybody, to the Haunted Vermont podcast. As always, I am Paul Doski, and joining us is the lovely lady behind the Champ Search. She has appeared on the podcast before back in May of 2022, so it has been a little bit. So without further ado, this is the founder of Champ Search, Katy Elizabeth. Katy, welcome back.
Hey, Paul. Thank you for having me back on the show. It's a pleasure to be back on. It's been a while, not terribly long, but it seems like it's been a long time, a really long time, actually. But I'm really looking forward to talking about some new stuff with you, that really interesting stuff that I'm excited to chat about.
Yes, I mean, I know what it is, and it's just great to hear about it. But, I mean, it's been about 2 years and 5 months or something like that. But yeah, anyway, it's been longer than probably what we originally wanted to plan. But I feel like with the hiccups and the delays along the way for the 2 years, I think it's actually worth this conversation nonetheless, just because of what you have captured in 2024. And I don't want to say too much, but the confirmation that you got, which, I mean, you know what I mean by that. But, I'll just maybe say that little comment that I have for that section. But let's start off with this. So, Katy, like I just said, it's been 2 years, 5 months. So what has you been up to? Like, I know you've been trying to get witnesses, because you've been doing witnesses videos for their sightings of Champ and everything else for your YouTube channel, which I've actually listened to both of the ones that you have currently, or at least that you have posted within the last couple of months. And I think one of the witnesses that you had was, forgive me, I forget his name right now, but you've been tracking him down for like ever, and you finally got an email from him about his sighting.
Yes, I did. It was really amazing because the gentleman, his name's William Tozier, Bill Tozier, and it was really crazy because for years I tried to find this guy because he originally told his story to Dennis Hall of Champ Quest and also Richard Duell, who was part of Champ Quest. And I mean, it took me forever to find this guy, and it was really funny because I didn't really find him; he found me. I just randomly got this email, and he's like, "Hey, I don't know if you know me, but my name's Bill Tozier." And I'm like, "What the hell?" I'm like, "That's the guy that I've been trying to find forever." And it was really interesting because he had a really different and amazing sighting of a champ animal, a large one and a small one, a baby, which is really something. I mean, I've heard a lot of people say, I was on another podcast with the Centre of Fortean Zoology, that I'm the USA administrator for that. They're based in the UK. And someone had mentioned in the comments, and I haven't gotten back to them yet on my thoughts on it, but they said, well, maybe it was a couple of water birds. But what they have to understand is that water birds do not possess tapetum. Tapetum is eye shine. And these creatures had eye shine. I mean, I've been out on the lake and shine a light out looking for this eye shine. And when you hit a bunch of ducks or you hit a flock of geese, they don't give off eye shine. So that kind of threw that theory out of the water, so to speak. But it was really interesting to get this interview with this guy, Bill. It was July 13th, 1993, and he was playing his guitar. And he thinks that his guitar basically attracted these creatures with the sound of the guitar going over the lake. Went down to the lake shore and with a flashlight and saw this really large, long-necked creature turn and look at him, and saw a smaller one, a baby with it. So if people want to check that out, it's a great eyewitness testimony. And I try to do all the visuals to go with the story as well, to put you in that moment that this gentleman went through, to give you that same sort of feeling. That's what I try to do with my production material. So I've been working on a documentary, Lady of the Lake, The Search for Champ, which I've been working on over like a few years now. But the reason why I waited, I had a feeling I was going to get something else. It's like I always have a feeling that something else is going to come up, and I want to add more material. So I said, I'm going to wait another season. And I'm glad that I did. Because this year I got something totally amazing. So we can, if you want to talk about that now, or you ask me the questions and then we'll get to that.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's one of those type of captures where it's. I'll just say it now for the sake of it. But I remembered after listening to this clip from your YouTube video of what you have captured, which I'll just say the echolocation real quick. But after the next part of what you did, though, I basically said after, I'll just say it again. I'll just say it anyway. Hopefully I just don't butcher her name, but it's the marine biologist, Cindy Jolie, and what she said to you, which I did quote, quote her for what she said to you as well. But to kind of summon it up, she basically said what we all needed to hear is that what is in Lake Champlain is definitely like an unidentified mammal that is making the sound, because everybody should know that Lake Champlain does not have any sort of whales or any type of dolphins, anything that really would make that sort of sound. And you did do an excellent job with the other sounds of what is known within Lake Champlain, like the sturgeon, that a lot of people kind of say is the champ creature just because of the how big they get or the length of them or something like that. But I think you even said that in your book, which I'll go back again to, your book, The Water Horse of Lake Champlain III. There's a chapter in there where you're talking about misidentified natural phenomenon, and you kind of even go into like the moose, twigs, I think it was. Like, there's a lot of things. Like, and then you kind of go into the whale aspect, and you explain like the sounds of the whales and stuff like that. So, I mean, again, you really did do a lot of nice sections of the book for that chapter. I feel like, if not maybe chapter 8 as it goes into there, because I have it in front of me, but right now I'm still seeing like it's still that chapter. Anyway, the point to this though is like you must feel the same way, Katie. I mean, especially when you first heard it, right? Like, you must have been like overjoyed, like where you probably took off the headphones and you just had to like breathe for a minute and be like, this is exactly what I wanted, or what we wanted, meaning like the community have been watching you research this for how many years now, and you finally get that confirmation too from Cindy, basically telling you that yes, there is something unidentified there.
That wasn't the echolocation. That was my dog. Sorry about that.
I think your dog is just, disagreeing at this point.
Well, it's really interesting because when it happened, it was really weird because I had taken the headphones off of my ears and I put them on the seat of the boat because it was really, really hot out, and I was getting really, really sweaty with the headphones on because they're closed headphones. And when I did that, of course, the recorder was recording. Thank God for that, because over at Loch Ness last year they had this big expedition, and they had forgot to turn the hydrophone on when they had heard something. So I'm like, oh boy. But anyway, so when this happened, I had the headphones laying on top of the seat, and I heard it when I was standing there, and it was so dead calm. I have a video, I don't know if you saw the video where we were out listening with the hydrophone system, and you could see how calm it was. And it was really interesting because I heard it standing there without the headphones on my ears. And my friend Marty was with me, and I said, Marty, hang on a second. I grabbed the headphones, I put them on my ears really quick. and that's when I was hearing it right up to my ear. It was that loud. Even though it's a high frequency, it was that I could hear it. I could hear it through the headphones laying on the seat. And I was like, holy crap. And I was so glad that I had it, recording that whole time. And I didn't have the hydrophone itself in the water that long. I think I had it in for about 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it was a strange time as well. It wasn't the typical feeding time, which is usually between 5 and 8:30 p.m. And it was funny because the whole season was kind of a big mess. I mean, there was issues with the weather. Each trip that I had, oh my God, it rained so much, as you know. Wind, rain, and then my boat had a few issues where the ignition switch had to be replaced. Then the starter went on it, even though it was brand new. I had just gotten it, and it was defective.
Oh,
so
no.
I had to get a replacement for that. Luckily, it was under warranty. There was just so many issues, and I was so frustrated. I'm like, anybody else would have just said, screw this, I'm done. But I know, I believe in I know that there's these animals in the lake. They depend on me for their protection because nobody else really as an advocate for these creatures. And hey, I'm their voice basically. So I said, you know what, I just need to take a deep breath and get through this and go back and do this again. I'm going to try one more time for the season, and I'm so glad that I did. And I think, and I don't believe in coincidence, I believe that this happened for a reason to have me up there at this time, because it was September, the end of September, which usually a lot of times on Lake Champlain, middle to the end of September, it gets really windy. And it's not always that great weather-wise. Temperature is not usually bad, it's just the wind. It's a good time for sailboats. I really feel like it happened for a reason. And for me to get something late in the season was great. I was just so happy. And I'm like, there was a reason why everything was delayed. And so I always say to people, don't ever doubt God's plan. There's a plan for you, no matter, even if you think it's a tragedy and bad things happen. And I've had a lot of bad things happen in my life, and we all have. But in the end, sometimes you look back and you say, there was a reason for that. And I really think in this case there was, because I really lucked out.
And you did. Yes, because I forgot to mention this too, but September 20th is when you captured this echolocation that you were just talking about.
And I was going to say, when you mentioned Cindy's analysis about how it is similar to cetacean, what I do want to point out too is that it is not quite the same. And what she did say is that she believes, and it's funny because this does go with my theory that I do have in the book, Water Horse of Lake Champlain, The Search, that we're dealing with an ectothermic species, reptile or amphibian, or maybe some type of hybrid of both, an evolutionary adapted creature. So if these animals were mammals, we'd be seeing them all the time. So I just wanted to put that out there. Just they have a very similar trait with the echolocation, but it's something I believe that they developed over time. It's probably due to the visibility in Lake Champlain. When you go back 10,000 plus years ago, when this was the Champlain Sea. Now, Lake Champlain, the Champlain Basin in general, is home to the oldest fossilized coral reef in the world, which is amazing. That right there, to me, when people say, well, how could there be these ancient creatures in there? Well, hello. It's the oldest fossilized coral reef in the world. How can you say that there's nothing in there? Just by that itself. With that being said, at that time it was extremely clear. So picture the Bahamas, obviously. I mean, you have coral reef, and the corals clean the water. It was that clear. So maybe at that time they did not have echolocation. And then over time, as the water got murkier, they probably developed that echolocation to be able to hunt for food, for instead of using just eyesight.
Right.
So that's my theory anyway. But Cindy doesn't believe that we're dealing with mammals, and I've never thought that myself, even though that's why I was always confused. I'm like, why am I getting echolocation like clicks, but they're more complex? And it was just amazing to get that confirmation from her. And in the past, my other echolocation recordings were analyzed by scientists in Japan and stated authentic, but they couldn't figure out really much with it, and they were different recordings. They're totally different. So in 2014, that we were talking about earlier before this
Before we
call
started
that
recording.
we're on now,
Yeah.
that was more like a purring sound. This is really different because you have the clicking, but in between there's a buzzing, which is really unique. And that's something that cetaceans do when they're really close to catching their prey. And even after they catch their prey, scientists really don't know. At first they thought it was something that was exclusive to right before they catch prey, but they're actually hearing it afterwards. It's almost like a reward type of thing. So I think it's a sound for reward, like at ease, like, oh yeah, I'm getting food, like they're at ease type of thing, which makes sense because of the before and after effect.
I almost thought that was almost like a way for them to, I don't know any other way to put it, so apologize for this, but I almost feel like with that buzzing and stuff, it's almost like a way of a vibration to like stun the prey that they're trying to get in a way, or paralyze it for, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I feel like
that's a great theory, because there is another theory that I had seen on a website some time ago, actually years ago, and I'll have to find the website and send it to you. But there was something that someone had come up with, and I can't remember who it was, but electrofishing, where say Loch Ness Monster, Champ give off this, almost like an electric eel, they give off this impulse of electricity to stun their prey, which is really interesting. And they very well could do that as well. We really don't know, obviously. So there's definitely some strange stuff going on, and I am just totally thrilled that finally I've got this really complex recording of echolocation that's even more complex than what I've gotten before and what Elizabeth von Muggenthaler had gotten before in 2003. When she worked for the Discovery Channel, and she was on Monster Quest as well, and I'm sure you've seen that episode.
Oh, I'm pretty sure a lot of us have.
And I worked with her back in, let me think what year that was, 2013. I worked with her a little bit. Unfortunately, we didn't get any type of recordings at the time. And then she just stopped the study, and I thought it was really unfortunate because I said to her, I said, it's really unfortunate that you're not continuing the study. But she had her own stuff going on, and honestly, I don't even know if she's still alive. It's kind of sad. I really don't know. I haven't been able to track her down. It's kind of a mystery.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I just thought it was such an important study to keep going, and I'm really glad that I did. It was great because I know that you saw the photo that I just put up yesterday with Giorgio Tsoukalos.
Yep.
And I worked with him back in 2014, and that was my first television program that I ever did on Champ. And it seems so long ago, which, it was a decade ago. I'm like, holy crap, I'm getting so old. And it was great to catch up with him because I saw him the other day, and I told him about the new recordings, and he was just totally blown away. And he said, I want to tell you that I'm so proud of you, and I'm so glad that you kept going and keep going. So it was really great to get that from Giorgio because he is just brilliant. This guy, I just had someone comment on the photo and they're like, "Oh, he seems like the real deal. I don't know if he reads off a script or not." And I'm like, I've spent time with Giorgio behind the scenes and stuff, and he is just absolutely brilliant. The guy is just top notch. I mean, he doesn't need to read off of a script. It's all in his mind, and he's just total genius of a human.
Yeah, I've always been curious about him, like behind the scenes, if he was ever sort of trying to read something off a card, or at least trying to, read something to help sum up whatever is currently being talked about. To have him come in and be like, "Hey, just what's going on?" It's like that infamous line that he's always said. I'm not trying to say it's alien, but it's like no, but yeah, that's kind of cool. That's really nice, like behind the scenes to really like be like, oh wow. So yeah, so it just shows how much he appreciates the ancient alien. Just to kind of go off of like what you said, his knowledge.
Yeah, he's definitely passionate about what he does, and I think when you're passionate about what you do, you don't even really have to think. It just rolls off your tongue very easily.
Right. Well, it all depends on what it is, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like I mean, like I will I remember when we first kind of talked, like I said I am a skeptic when it comes to like the cryptids and stuff, but after hearing that, and then seeing that that little statement that Cindy sent to you about that, it's just like like I said before, I feel like this is that clarification or confirmation from somebody that is a marine biologist who's been in the field for a while. I don't know Cindy Joey that much, but I know she had to have been in it for a while to know what she's listening to, and just to give you that confirmation. Which I just want to read the last thing that she kind of says about it, which she goes, the audio shows that there is a possibility of an unknown species unlike anything known from a freshwater lake. The theory that there may be a highly evolved ectro, ectothermic animal that can produce complex clicks residing in the lake is possible, although additional data and research are required to confirm. So, that's a nice little segue to basically say, Katie, so now that you caught this, what's next?
Exactly. So yeah, I have a lot of homework to do now. What's interesting about this particular recording, like I said, it's so different from the other recordings. And to hear that buzzing, I've never gotten that in the other recordings, and neither did Liz. When Liz von Muggenthaler got hers, she didn't get that either. So now it's like, wow. And I've always said that these animals have a complex language. Now it's complex echolocations. Echolocation is totally different from language. Echolocation is meant for navigation and for finding food. Language is for communication purposes. So they're two different things. Um,
Mm-hmm.
with this whole thing with the echolocation, they obviously can do different types of echolocation. I know cetaceans can as well, but to know that we're not dealing with a cetacean because we would see them all the time, a uniquely evolved species that's not in our fossil record yet anyway. I mean, I'm always hoping to find a tooth or bones of some sort. I do have a bone fragment of something that nobody has been able to identify yet. And I'm like, wouldn't it suck, like, if this was a champ animal bone? Like, and I've been hanging on to this damn thing for like 8 years now, and nobody's been able to confirm what the hell it is. And I remember I had gotten a hold of the Perkins Geology Museum in Burlington, and they said, well, we can take a look at it, but you have to leave it here. And I'm like, no, I'm not leaving anything there, because there's been times where people have found fossils of things and left them with universities, and they're gone. And I'm not going to do that. If it's, if it's something of important significance, even if it almost looks like a rib fragment, a broken rib fragment of a beluga whale, but I'm not sure. So I'm going to try to send more photographs to different universities and try again. I'm not sure what it is, but wouldn't that be amazing if I'd had some type of proof all this time and it's been sitting on a shelf? So I
Right.
don't know. I'm always looking, like on the days it's really windy outside and you can't see much on the lake. I try to go on the shorelines and look and see if I could find anything like that. You never know. There was a serpentine type of fossil of a serpent, and I think I can send you, I've got it somewhere in the 1800s. Supposedly P.T. Barnum ended up with it, but there's really nobody knows what happened to it. They supposedly chiseled it out of the rock over in Barn Rock Bay, which is on the New York side of the lake. If you go past the Narrows of Lake Champlain, up that way. And it was a long serpent, like, fossil in the rock, which is really interesting. So that could have been proof right there that these creatures have been there for millions of years. Whether or not it was some kind of snake, a different type of thing, because I don't know if I mentioned to you before, but I don't know if we talked about the snake type creature reports as well with no appendages that have been seen crossing roads. You have.
I don't remember talking about that at all.
Yeah, there's some reports, like there was one girl that was coming home to Port Henry. She lives in Port Henry still, and she worked at Porter Hospital in Middlebury, Vermont. So she was crossing this section of road near the lake, and there's kind of like a little bit of a bridge type thing. It's like there's like a couple of drainage tube things under the road. So she was coming home from the hospital. It was like 4:00 in the morning, still dark out. It had just rained, and it was kind of misty. And she had to stop in the road because there was this long thing across the road. And she's like, "What the hell is that?" And it was inching across the road in a vertical undulation. And she's like, "What the hell is that?" Like, she goes, "It looked like a snake type thing, but it didn't move like a snake." And it covered the whole road. And she goes, she lived down in Florida for a while, so she's familiar with pythons and stuff. I mean, we have all kinds of crazy stuff down here. Invasive pythons that can get up to like 15, 18 feet long. She was shocked at what the hell she was seeing. And at the end, she said there was no appendages, no flippers, no webbed feet or anything like that. And she said that the end of it had like a knob at the end, like where the tail would be. It was really strange. I measured the road at the location. I believe that the road was around 21 feet wide. So I'm like, holy crap, that whatever that thing was very, very long. So there's another report too, going back to, I think it was like 1918. Gentleman in, I think it was a Model A Ford or a Model T, I forget which Model Ford, but one of the older Model Fords. He was going down Route 9N, and there was a large snake-like creature with no appendages in the road. Heard another story, and that was in the newspaper. Heard another story from someone at the Malaya Chamber of Commerce meeting one time, that when she was a child, and I've been trying to find this in the paper, and I have not been successful at it, but she had said that the train that runs along in Port Henry had hit something on the train tracks, and they said it was really strange looking and snake-like. What the hell it was doing on the train tracks other than maybe sunbathing? The snakes do that, and there's been reports of champ sunbathing as well. So whether it was a champ animal or this snake type of creature, I really don't know. But some really bizarre stuff.
While you just mentioned about giant snakes, I was looking up something myself, because I have like a little chart thing on my hauntedvermont.org site about cryptids, and one of the categories I have is giant snake, and some of the locations or around Vermont area is said to be known for giant snakes, which is Richmond, Woodstock, Bethel, and others. So, I mean, it is possible that what would that be around to like Burlington, St. Albans, I think, right? And there's got to be some other town that I'm forgetting. But yeah, the point is though, like, yeah, what to say that they can't just swim across Lake Champlain when nobody's really watching per se. I mean, for all I know, they could be like, Anaconda, where they're going underneath the water and nobody can see them. But yeah, and then they come up, popping up at Port Henry side and wherever. So yeah, I mean, it is possible.
What's really interesting is the New York side of Lake Champlain at Split Rock is home to the highest population of timber rattler snakes on the East Coast. So if you ever go hiking in the forest around Split Rock, be very careful. You're going to probably hear them, but I had a friend, Gary Burton, that went hiking, and he was climbing up the side of a cliff, and he about put his hand right on top of one's head, and he didn't hear it rattle. So he was damn lucky, because where he was is out in the middle of nowhere, and you only have so much time if you get bit by one to get anti-venom. So they're pretty lethal, and there are northern water snakes in Lake Champlain I've seen swimming around, and they can be quite aggressive. They're non-venomous, but they will bite you. It's so funny because I've never had a problem with the northern water snakes. I've fished on the lake so much, and there was an area where I was fishing, and one had come up, and she was really, really girthy, and I'm like looking at her, and I think she had eggs. She was bearing eggs, so I said, oh, what the hell? And I figured she'd be even more aggressive because of the fact. But she came up right next to me and just laid there in the sun. And I moved my chair further back because I was on a bridge, and I didn't want any of the cars to run her over. And she hung out with me like for 5 hours. And she must have like trusted me, because she didn't go after me at all. And usually people complain how aggressive they are, but I've never had one go after me. And I think you just give them their space and you leave them the hell alone. It's like down here in Florida, we have gators. I have a lake on my property in the back, and there's a couple of gators back there, and as long as you don't feed them, that's the problem. People start feeding them, that's when they start going after people. So they always say a fed gator is a dead gator, because that's when they have to shoot them.
Yeah, that goes with anything, really, even like a bear and stuff like that, as we all know. So, yeah. But I want to comment about that rattlesnake thing, about how your friend there didn't hear it. I want to say it was about a week and a half ago now. I was watching this video, Brave Wilderness, I think. I think it was on there. And I was just watching it with our daughter, and one of the things that they actually mentioned is that they think the rattlesnakes are actually starting to get smarter and not rattle, because they know that once they rattle, they it's almost like they get ambushed per se. Like us humans will find them, but if they don't rattle, we can easily just, like your friend, you just not see them and either walk by them, or in your friend's case, like almost put their hand on it, which again, the fact that it didn't strike the hand, like, wow. So this must have been a really calm rattlesnake at this time of day, I guess, because I really don't have an explanation of why that snake did not attack your friend.
It probably could have been, I'm trying to remember what time of year it was. I think it was in the fall. So it might have been in kind of a little bit of a torpor, so kind of slowed down. So reptiles, when it gets cooler out, they start to slow down. Once they get their body heat from the sun and the outside temperature, then they start to speed up. So that might have been what was going on, because he definitely wasn't, didn't have his game that day, the snake. But, oh my God, I don't know. I mean, I'm always really, when I go out in the woods, I have snake boots, 'cause you never know. And people don't think of rattlesnakes around Lake Champlain, but they've been seen on the Vermont side as well. So you got to be really careful.
Oh yeah.
There's all kinds of stuff out there that you wouldn't expect, especially champ.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I
But
mean,
they've never been known to harm anybody, so that's something I wouldn't worry about.
no. But again, like you were saying, as long as you don't, in this case, I'll just say, as long as you don't poke the bear, then you're fine. There's no reason for it to get aggressive. As long as there's no babies around too. So yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's always good to hear when something that could happen badly doesn't end badly. So that's always the better news anyway. So,
You always
but
have to respect. You got to respect nature, and a lot of people don't. And I think that's the key to doing research as well, is to respect nature and just try to protect it. And a lot of people don't use that aspect as like looking for Bigfoot as well. They do conferences, and I've never seen one conference that was ever like, "Hey, we're going to put so much money towards the conservation of the forest." Like, you never see that. It's like, what the hell are they thinking? That, to me, the most important thing is the conservation aspect. I mean, we have millions of gallons of sewage getting into Lake Champlain every year, and I'm hoping that with this new confirmation of echolocation evidence, that this is going to help
stir up something.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, with all of the evidence over the years, it did help with getting the law passed for protection that I wrote in 2018. And now with this, I'm hoping that even more conservation efforts with Lake Champlain are going to happen, and I'm really going to work as hard as I can for that. And I think it's extremely important, and something that, especially the Vermont side, I hate to say it, but, Vermont's supposed to be this green state. But why the hell aren't they concentrating on fixing the infrastructure of the wastewater treatment plants? It doesn't make any sense to me. Because
money talks.
Exactly. It does. And, now we have a new power line that's going through the lake, and I've been really worried about that. But, unless they're telling me what I want to hear. I did speak to the gentleman that's head of the project at the marina in Port Henry, where I keep Kelpie too. And he was saying that he's worked on a similar project with a power line in the Gulf of Mexico, and it did not interfere with any navigational purposes of certain. I think it was, how was it? Whale sharks, I believe it was. He was saying that it didn't affect anything with sea turtles as well, which is an example of a aquatic reptile. Because a lot of times with EMF that these power lines are giving off, it does have an effect on their navigational purposes, thus echolocation. That's what I was worried about. But apparently, he was telling me a lot about the underwater cable, and I think I'm trying to remember, I think he was saying it was DC power instead of AC power. So I was really glad to hear that. I'm going to try to interview him for my documentary. And I think it would be, I'm not sure if you'll be able to do it or not, but I think it'll be really a great environmental piece of educational material for people to find out more about what's going on with that power line going through. So, but that put my mind at ease a little bit to know that it's not as invasive as I thought it would be.
Right. And, you just said AC and DC. That makes me want to look that up just so I can even myself know like the difference, because, when we hear AC, DC, first thing I'm thinking of is air condition, which I know is not right, but I'd just like to know in that sort of term, like what it is and what the difference between AC and DC too. So Yeah, I got myself some homework too because that's kind of interesting to know too. So, yeah.
Well, AC, I was going to say, is alternating current.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Hmm. And then
So
DC
yeah,
would be.
I mean DC is direct current. So
Okay, I was thinking like directional current. So, kind of
yeah.
close.
Well, it's kind of confusing when you kind of think of it in your own wording, you know.
Oh, yeah. But that's why we have professionals like this guy to basically try to tell everybody like what the hell it is, so people like me can be like, oh, okay, now I got you. Yeah. But no, but in all seriousness, I knew it was an air conditioner. I was just trying to, I'm thinking off the top of my head, it's like, what the hell could it be? So, but then again, I'm not really familiar with that sort of stuff, so I won't even know where to begin. But yeah, that makes sense. Alternative current, really. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just really excited for the future, and I hope that this coming season that we will hopefully get some kind of surface video, head and neck video, something like that. I mean, the problem today with that is there is AI type of stuff going on. I mean, if I have ever got anything like that, I would just have them send it to Jet Propulsion Laboratory, something like that to confirm it. Um, I'm going to be working on a project, hopefully with a television crew, um, with some type of eDNA again. I'm not going to tell too much because every time I say something, people try to copy me. Unfortunately, I think we had that conversation before. It's
Oh
crazy, you try to like say something and you try to like tell a little bit about what you do. My motto is don't tell anybody your damn plans, because then
nope.
it's a bad idea, because then you give somebody advice. Okay, for example, I'll just say it. Over at Loch Ness, there was someone that I talked to, and they were asking about how to use a hydrophone. So I gave advice about that, and then after that, they blocked me. And so now
Mm,
they happen to be using the same hydrophone system that I use, and never
mm,
giving me any type of like thank you or anything like that. Just a thank you would be nice, you know.
yep.
And that's just the crap that happens. It's like, come on, man, like you can't even say thanks. I mean, that's why I try not to say my plans a lot of times now, because I always get shot in the foot. Every time.
Yeah. Since you just brought up DNA, I wanted to actually ask you about that because I think you couldn't say it that episode that you were going to be on for. Wow, what the hell is it? No, not unsolved mysteries. Oh my god, where's my note about this?
Mysteries
Mystery
Decoded.
Decoded. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching that, and there was like a little section. Oh, here it is. Yeah, it was released August 10th. This is obviously for you guys, the listeners. But yeah, Mystery Decoded. It was released on August 10th of 2022. Anyway, so for those that may not have had a chance to watch this little episode, so they actually did like a DNA thing. They went around, I think it was like three locations of Lake Champlain, and they tried to collect, DNA. They sent it off to a lab to see if they could find anything that was unidentified. I guess they got a lot of well-known documented fish already. I think there was like some sort of DNA that from some fish that we didn't really realize we had in Lake Champlain or
Yeah.
something like that. And then otherwise they basically said, you know, which to me, I mean, okay, so I'll just say it first and then I'll say my thoughts. So anyway, so basically at the end of the episode, they kind of said, well, they didn't catch anything uh, that was unknown, basically. And so that kind of basically said, well, we don't really need to do any more at this point. So it kind of just closes the case, per se, as Mr. Decoded uh, put it, which So my comment is this. So I'm more. Katie knows this because even if we talk off the air, and sometimes even I think with the last episode, I told Katie like, yes, I'm a skeptic when it comes more to cryptid than I am paranormal, just because of I've been more. Having my own experience with the paranormal more than the cryptid side. But anyway, to the point to this is so this works in the paranormal way too, which is okay. So mystery decoded. I'm gonna say this to you guys or gals, basically, is even though you guys caught nothing the first time around, that doesn't mean you can come back and get something else this time. It's always that like the paranormal side where, hey, you go to this one place, you may not catch anything the first time, and then you could be like, oh, this place ain't haunted, we're done here. But then you could always come back, we'll just say a couple months later, and actually catch something. So it's never a guarantee, and that's like why, like with Katie here, like I mean, maybe Katie, you can kind of clarify with this too, which is like tell us again for even new listeners, maybe when did you start Champ Search, and like when was it when you first captured your first piece of evidence? But before we get into that, I just want to say, do you agree with me with what I'm saying though? Like, does that make sense? Like,
I totally agree. I totally agree because, okay, 2012, I had my first sighting, which was like 2 days into being on the lake, which is totally nuts. And I never thought in a million years I would ever see anything anyway being on the lake, never mind 2 days into the damn trip. I didn't get it on video, and I was so pissed off about it, naturally.
Real quick, Katie, what did you just real quick for those that what was your first sighting? Did you just see like humps or something in the water? What did you see, or what did you hear?
We were camping at Button Bay State Park, and it was around 11:30 in the morning, and I was sitting on a bench eating a late breakfast because we stayed up quite late, and I was looking out at the water. It was very, very calm, and there was a sailboat moored in the background. And I saw this blackish brownish colored hump rise to the surface of the water, and I just looked and I'm like, what the hell is that thing? And growing up in the ocean state in Rhode Island, I'm familiar with waves, boat wakes, and logs popping up, and all the natural phenomena that you see on the water. And I'm like, well, maybe it's an otter. But then I'm looking at the sailboat, which is like 20 feet long, and it was nearly that size. I'm like, this thing has to be at least 15 feet long. But I didn't see the head and neck, which everybody thinks you see a head and neck, like the classic Nessie surgeon's photo type of sighting. Which, yeah, the surgeon's photo, most people now think it's a hoax and stuff, which I don't really think, I don't believe in the surgeon's photo anymore. As a kid, that was my favorite. But then when I saw the Nancy photo, that was it. That's how I got hooked in the first place with Champ. So when I saw this thing, I was just totally amazed at what I was seeing because I'd never seen anything like that growing up on the water. So I ran to the car to get my camera when I did it submerged. I didn't think of having my camera on hand, and boy, did I learn that freaking lesson because now I have it where, I mean, if I just plan on going to Walmart in Ticonderoga and going across the bridge, I've turned around just to go back to get my camera. I have to have my camera because I know damn well that if I don't have that camera, I'm going to see something. So it wasn't until 2014 that I got the creatures. I think it was more than one because it was analyzed on the Science Channel, and they believe that it was more than one. Probably the same two that I got on sonar because it's not far from the location, from the sonar location. It was really interesting to just see humps come up and not a head and neck like, everybody thinks happens every time someone has a sighting. It's very rare to have a head and neck sighting. Right. So that was my first experience, but it wasn't until 2014 I got it on video. So it was a couple of years, and persistence paid off. I had to I can't tell you how many damn hours I spent on Lake Champlain. My eyes, just get so tired, and I'm surprised still have good eye. I have good vision. I have super good vision still. I'll be 40 in April. I'm so lucky because I know people that have had to have glasses when they were kids, and luckily I have very good vision still. But it's with an echolocation I got in 2014, my first recording, but this complex recording is 2024. So from 2012 to 2024, it's been a journey, I'll tell you, and it's been a lot of freaking work. People think this is easy. They think it's just sitting on the water. They think it's a joyride in the boat. Okay, you have no freaking idea what it takes to deal with a boat. It's expensive, number one. When you're dealing with an older boat like Kelpie 2, she's in 1985. So you got little parts that, okay, she's not starting. Okay, there's a gas leak. Okay, it never freaking ends. And even with new boats, you have that problem. It's totally different from Bigfoot research. And I talked about this on one of the podcasts with the CFZ a while back, and a Bigfooter got really offended and got ticked off and blocked me because of it. And I didn't mean any offense. And it was stupid because what I had said, because I've been out to look for Bigfoot many times, and I do it down here. I look for the skunk ape. It's a totally different ball game. You're not dealing with a boat. You're not dealing with 4-foot waves when it's windy out. You're dealing with so many different aspects of equipment as well. The sonar, the sonar is really complicated too because it actually hooks up to my phone through an app. So you have to get it calibrated with your phone, and sometimes the Wi-Fi doesn't work, and you got to try to get that to connect. I mean, there's just so much. You add everything together, it's a big pain in the butt. And everything going on with the weather, the boat, the sonar not cooperating, and with the sonar that I have, the live video one, it's amazing because in 2022 I got a really great sonar video where you could see the appendage moving back. That was great, but it's not foolproof either using that sonar because you can't go that fast with it. You got to go a certain speed. So it gives them a chance to get the hell away from you. So you got to have traditional sonar on as well as that sonar. So this year, that's what I ran into. I think that's why I maybe didn't get anything on the sonar. I'm going to hook up an additional traditional sonar unit just in case the other one doesn't pick anything up. There's a lot of technical aspects to this stuff. Then you have the game cameras. A lot of times I'll set up game cameras where I'll set up 2 in one spot because you'll get something on one camera and sometimes the other one doesn't pick it up.
Exactly.
And it's like, how the hell is this possible? It's really strange. So with trial and error over the past, it'll be almost 13 years now that I've been doing field research. You learn what works and what doesn't work, but you're always learning. It's just like anything in life. When people say like, oh, this one's a Bigfoot expert, she's a champ expert. No one's an expert. We're always learning all the time. No matter what, our whole life we're learning all the time. And I'm definitely learning new things about the champ animals. I mean, just this new echolocation is just stunning. It's stunning. It stunned me to hear the different aspects of this buzzing sound and to hear from another authority in marine biology with what she thought about it, because I've done a lot of recordings of whales and dolphins myself and manatees as well. The manatees do not echolocate, but they do make vocalizations that sound very similar to dolphin squeals. So I am going to be going to school for marine biology to get my bachelor's degree. So that's my goal this winter. So I've got too much stuff on my plate, but I'll get it done. I'll get it done.
Right. Well, I just want to put in my comment too about what you were saying about this video or sonar could catch something and then this other one doesn't. Yeah, I can vouch on that with even like the paranormal. Like sometimes just this I'll just say camcorder mic might pick up uh, like a voice that you didn't hear at all, and then the other camera that you had rolling as well with a mic, or even just a mic, may not have caught that as well. So, I mean, again, I agree with you there. It's like it's kind of weird how that works, especially if you have both of them running at the same time.
Well, it's funny you say that because I used to be a paranormal investigator a long time ago, and it was, what year was that? Okay, it was up till 2012, and oh God, I stopped because I had some weird stuff happen, and I had something kind of follow me home, and I just had enough of that. I'd rather have the champ animals follow me home. Now that would be a party. You just sipping tea with the two champs on my porch. Hell yeah. But at the time, when you hear footsteps on your porch and you got a faucet in your bathroom turning on when you're in the shower, like this faucet was a knob faucet, the round one that you push up.
Yep.
I had that happen to me, and
oh man,
oh my God, it scared the crap out of me. And I'm like, get the bleep out of my house. And when I said that, I was gone. I saged my house. I did all that stuff. I'm very empathic, and I think that they know that, and they tend to gravitate towards people like that. So anytime people get in the paranormal and do ghost hunting, I always tell them, please be careful. I mean, not that it wasn't a demon or all that crap. It was nothing like that, but it was something that apparently liked me and just wanted to follow me home, and I didn't want it around. I'm like, get the hell out of my house. Why are you here? But yeah, I mean, I was at a former insane asylum in Rhode Island called the Lad School, and it was really active. If you look it up online, they actually knocked it down, and there's a fire academy there where they practice with the firemen and stuff. So they do all like the fire practice and all that. So thank God, like, there's no building there, but that doesn't mean there's not still there, because I don't give a crap if you burn the place down or knock it down or whatever. That energy is still there. So
yeah, energy never dies.
No, exactly. So what's interesting is one night I had gone there, and I had a friend with me, and he wouldn't get out of the car. He's like, no, I'm not getting out. I'm like, well, I'm going to do an EVP session. So I had my digital recorder with me, and I had my EMF detector. And I walked around the building. It was a round building, very strange-looking building. I don't know. That place is creepy as hell. And I walked around the building, and I'm asking questions. And it's on. I got it on YouTube. I'll have to send you the link. It's pretty crazy. So I had said, is there anybody here that wants to talk with me? And this voice of a male says, the wedding. I don't know what the hell that meant. It wasn't answering my question, but he says, the wedding, like that. And then I was just putting out random questions. And then I said, why are you still here? And he says, the child. And I'm like, and I did not hear that with my ears. And I did not pick it up with the EMF detector, but I picked it up with the digital recorder. So that was interesting, and I played that back just to see if anything came through. And when I did, I almost peed my pants. Like, I couldn't believe it because I didn't hear it, and the EMF did. I figured at least the EMF detector would have went off, but it never did. So that was really interesting. I've had some experiences with the paranormal, and I had another time where I went to a cemetery. And just when you're about to leave is usually when they really start. I always say, don't turn your recorder off until after you leave, like, because it seems like they want to tell you something right before you go, because they know you're leaving and it's their last opportunity. So there was a bunch of headstones, and it was a whole family. And I had said, where are you guys originally from? I was just asking, like, random questions. And when I went to leave, I said, okay, guys, I'm going to go now. I'm like, have a good day. And I played back the thing, and a little girl, her voice comes up on the recording, and she says, well, where are you from? I mean, as clear as a freaking bell. And I could not believe it. I was like, oh, my God. I mean, like Class A EVP. So, and I didn't hear anything with my ears, nothing. I don't think I had my EMF detector with me that day, but it's crazy how. And then there's other investigation that I had been on where we did documentaries on it that are on YouTube, where I would hear something, and the rest of the crew would not hear it. Like I heard like a baby crying, almost like a baby cry, and when they played back the audio, there was the sound, and nobody else heard it except for me. And then I did a hearing test because my ex-boyfriend, he was the head of the paranormal group at the time, and he said, I'm going to try the mosquito tone with you and see if you can hear these different frequencies. So he did like some of the highest frequencies that he couldn't hear and the other people couldn't hear, but I could hear it. I could hear, at the time, I think I was 26, and I could hear what like a 6-year-old kid could hear. So it was really weird. And they say as you get older, you lose that ability to hear the higher frequencies. So, right. And I can still hear like some of those mosquito tone things. I have super good hearing, and my mother hates it because she'll be in the other room with Eric and try to like whisper stuff, and I'm like, I heard you. She's like, damn it.
Stop eavesdropping.
Yes, exactly. I always tell her, I'm like, maybe I have Champ's hearing for echolocation. You never know. I'm a reincarnated Champ animal, okay?
You never know.
Never know.
Yeah. That's funny. I'll say a story real quick that I haven't gotten to share yet. So this will be the first time I share it. So when I did a video, I think it was like last October, me and a friend went to Dummerston to find the Dummerston vampire family plot because the family was buried in 2 different cemeteries. Well, anyway, long story short is after I came home, edited the video together, threw it up on YouTube, and went to bed that night. I can't make this up, but like, what are we? 3:00 Sunday morning. My bedroom light turned on, and it's not one of those like light switches that you just flick up and down. This one is like a pull string. So the fact that my bedroom light came on, which is supposed to be a pull string, that to me was crazy. Like it definitely woke me up out of a sound asleep, because obviously it's like, oh my god, like who the hell turned this light on? And it's just like I stopped to think about it. I'm like, oh boy. I'm like, here we go. So I didn't really acknowledge it right away. I'm just like, okay, whatever. I think all I said was just like, can I just go back to bed? And then I just went back to bed. But I was just like, okay, I acknowledge the fact that somebody's here or something. Just please, just leave me alone. I need to sleep. And nothing really happened again. So I think it's just, as long as you sometimes acknowledge it, they just tend to go away after a while.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But yeah, I've never shared that yet because I was just like, well, I don't know when I could, but yeah, I did it at the perfect time too.
Well, hey, Halloween's coming up. What better time to share a creepy story like that?
Right.
There's all kinds of weird stuff out there, and I really don't normally share my paranormal experiences because like people are probably like, well, it's bad enough that I've said, hey, I'm hunting for a lake monster. You get a lot of weird looks. But now, I really don't care. Like I said before, I don't give a crap what people think. I've got the stuff, I get the data to back it up. And now, with this new revelation, I'm really happy that I stuck with it and went through all the nightmares of of the trials and tribulations to get there. It's like I always tell people, just don't give up what you love. Don't let anybody knock you down, put you down. When people do that, it's because you're ahead of the game. That's right. All it's about, So you just have to keep on forging forward, and I'm just so glad that I did, because I wouldn't have gotten what I've gotten. And I'm glad that the weather was crap most of the season, and I had to have everything pushed towards September because I wouldn't I wouldn't have gotten what I got. So everything does happen for a reason.
Yeah, and with that being said, like we're as of this recording, we're recording. What are we on of a month? A month after you have gotten that echolocation. So it was September 20th, 2024, and today, as we're recording, it's October 20th, 2024.
Oh my God,
So
that's creepy. I didn't even realize that. That's
I didn't
crazy.
either until I just started to think about it because I was just looking at the time. But real quick, Katie, because you kind of brought it up, but and also the fact that you kind of do your skunk ape stuff back down in Florida there and stuff like that. So I guess my question for you is a couple things. So when you're up here, right? Not only like are you on the lake and trying to get more evidence for the champ animals and stuff. But I don't think I ever really asked you this last time, so I just kind of want your opinion. So this, you can split this up between the champ animals, and then you can basically switch it to like the skunk ape thing. So so basically I want to start with Lake Champlain. The rumors. I think we've mentioned the rumors last time, but I don't think we've really fully fled into it. What your thoughts of your opinion, which is, there's a UFO base down in Lake Champlain, and then you hear like, when it comes to the Sasquatch side, some people believe that the Sasquatch and has some sort of weird connection to UFO, whether it's like UFO beam them down or get beamed up or something, because they're always trying to say the Sasquatch has to sort of some Sasquatches, not all. I'll just say that because I mean there's got to be different ones for sure. We have different type of head structure for these things, for Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Yetis, Yowies, whatever the hell you want to call them. But like, in your own opinion, though, what is your thought about the whole like could could you know Champ have this weird paranormal aspect, or do you think it's its own thing? And then I kind of want to just ask you to break it up for your thoughts about the whole skunk ape thing when you're down there, which is, what are your thoughts on the whole UFO Bigfoot Sasquatch thing?
Well, it's really interesting that you asked that because um, I I know that these animals that we call champ are biological species, with footprints, like webbed footprints being found in the marsh systems, um, different tracks through the marsh as well, through the tall grass. I mean, they could be beaver trails too, but some of these are really wide with really large webbed footprints, even going across roads, that sort of thing. So those are the biological aspects. What I believe, it's kind of weird, but the Native Americans did refer to these creatures as the horned serpents. And the story goes that the horned serpents were created by the Creator to protect Lake Champlain. And the only way that people will see them is if they mean them no harm. And that's the funny thing where I always talk about how it sounds silly, but it's almost how they almost know. Like when people see them, that they mean no harm type of thing. I always thought that was strange, but I think there's a little bit of paranormal aspect around that. There's also a thing where it says that people that have seen the horned serpents, good luck will be bestowed upon them. I do have some good luck with getting those opportunities with them, obviously. But it's really interesting that there's another thing. They talk about the horned serpents in Native American mythology, which I don't believe is myth, obviously. But they say the round, which are rounded horns, which I talk about in my book with the morphological aspects of these creatures, the shape of them. They talk about the horns and they say, oh, if one is killed or whatever. Now that's the thing. Like some people I've heard in the past, where Dennis Hall that I used to work with Champ Quest, he thought maybe the Native Americans killed off some of them, where they were more abundant, which is a possibility. I don't know. I mean, that was something that he kind of came up with. And maybe that's why they're so elusive as well. Who the heck knows? But they would say that the horns were magical, like they would grind them up into powder or something, kind of like Chinese medicine. when you hear about them cutting off shark fins for shark fin soup, or they would dry them and use the powder for an aphrodisiac. Kind of the same thing. If you think about it, it's weird. So that's a little tidbit of the mythological aspects of medicine that the Native Americans talked about. It's kind of weird. But I do believe that there is some kind of paranormal aspect around them, because there's been times where I've seen, like my 2014 video, I had trouble getting the camera to focus. And Dennis was actually manning the camera at the time. And I handed him the camera, and he was having trouble. And there's a part in that video, which is really funny, and I cut it out because he was swearing. But I have the original, and I'm going to post it because it actually, it's real. Like, it adds to the validity of the video, because he's like, I can't get this SOB to zoom in because it was just in and out of focus. Any other damn time when I would zoom in that camera to, like, say, a bunch of ducks on the water, it would just hold, right into the zoom. I wouldn't have any issue. So yeah, it makes you wonder why the hell this is happening. So there's a lot of weird stuff around it, and I have a feeling it has to do with the Native American type of aspect, where there's like a protection type of bubble around these creatures. It's kind of funny, and I think the ones that don't mean them harm, like me, I'm about the protection aspect. I think that I managed to break through that invisible type of bubble. It sounds kind of funny, but that's what it seems like, because I've had so much luck with the evidence that I've gotten. So that's my theory. And the UFO stuff and the Bigfoot stuff around the lake, yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of weird stuff around Lake Champlain. And it seems like there's other instances, like over at Loch Ness, there's been UFO sightings as well. Whether they're related or not, I don't know, but it does seem kind of funny that something's going on. Do I believe that Champ is a paranormal entities? No, I don't. But I think there is something different around them. I mean, you're dealing with an ancient area. You're dealing with an area that has a certain magnetism. And with a certain magnetism, you're probably dealing with a very thin veil. Who knows what could be bleeding through as well. So there could be, maybe there's some sightings that are paranormal entities. Who knows? We really don't know.
Fair enough, Katie. I will take that opinion to my heart then. Because honestly, I don't really have an answer. Okay, like, I haven't really had a chance to really share my thoughts on the whole cryptology stuff. I don't want to say crap like I almost did. Like sometimes when I say certain things, it's like my auto, like my brain is like auto words. Sometimes it's like I don't just like always think before I speak it. Sometimes in this case, I stop myself.
I know what you're saying. No, there's a lot of crap out there. I mean, you've got the Bigfoot groups where, okay, for instance, oh, good Lord, I've seen this, where someone is like, well, we went out on a Bigfoot hunt. We went to our gifting spot, so we put out a bunch of candy, and something ate the candy. And then look at the wrappers. Look at the wrappers. There's no candy left. And I'm like, okay, well, that's cool, but did you leave a game camera? Like, did you find any prints? Well, no, I didn't leave a game camera. Well, why the hell not? If it's a supposed gifting place, why wouldn't you at least try to put a camera? Even if you think it's paranormal, why not?
Right.
Because I think they know that they're full of crap. Like, they're full of crap to me. And, it's like, stop I call it the woo. It's just woo. And I guess so freaking, or I hate people like that. Like, I just can't stand it because I take what I do so serious. Like, there was a guy a while back that had put up a picture of these two supposed Bigfoots. It's two masks, and if you brighten up the picture, you can see like how shiny they are, and like you can actually see a black sheet that he put in the top of this fence where they're supposed to be peeking over the fence. And this guy's like, "Oh, they talk to me," and I'm like, "Dude, you know what? Get the hell off of my friends list. I can't stand people like that because
Oh
it
my
takes
God.
away the hard work. You know what I'm saying? Like the hard work that I'm doing." It just pisses me off. I'm sorry. It gets me so damn mad,
Have this, so I don't know why, but every time when
nuts.
I hear about these stupid people like you're talking about, oh my God, there's one video that I always think about too, just because it's so freaking hilarious. But have you ever seen the YouTube video that's around where this guy supposedly got like kidnapped by Bigfoot, and the Bigfoot was basically like making him be his bitch or something like that?
I don't think I have.
Oh my God! If I see it again, I'll have to send it your way. Oh my God! Basically, he was the whole video is basically him saying like how he was kidnapped and basically was traumatized because he was uh, used for Bigfoot's whatever the hell you want to call it. I can't even. It's yeah, it's just way too funny and stupid. I'll just have to send you it. But every time I hear something like that, I'm always thinking that video just because it's like, oh my God, who believes this crap?
Yeah,
Because
I mean, you see this stuff and you're like, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, and I've had people ask me, like, have I gotten anything with Champ that I believe were hoaxes and stuff? And yeah, that does happen once in a blue moon. Not very often. I had
right.
one time where a woman had sent me something that it ended up, all right, I didn't go to her house because I had other stuff going on. She did invite me to her house to like see the location. Well, I'm kind of glad I didn't go because it ended up she took a video of what she said was the head and neck of Champ, and it was really far away across the lake. Well, I went on like Google Street Map, Street View, and I could see it was like a stick buoy, like like a stick buoy thing in the water. It was way across the lake, and the reason why it looked like it was moving is because the current was going the opposite direction. So I debunked that one. Then there was a lady in Port Henry who was standing at the pier, and she's like, "Look, I think I saw Champ." But then she goes, "Ha ha ha," and I'm
Mhm.
like, "You know what, lady? Really?" And she didn't tell me where she was, but I knew exactly where she was because it was a freaking buoy that's out there all the time. And I'm like, "You were at the pier." "Oh, how did you know?" I said, "Because I know the lake, like that area, like the back of my hand." So you get
Mm,
once in a while you'll get stupid crap like that. I just get really aggravated because I work so hard for for what I do, and then you get
mhm.
people that do this for attention, and it's just annoying.
Oh, so I found a video though, it's just talking about where I just can't take it serious. But the title of the video was called "Bigfoot Used Me to Have a Baby." Grown man cries. That's what it's
Oh
called.
my gosh.
Yep, yep. So
I'll have to check it out after we talk.
I just sent it to you, but for everybody else, just look up the title. "Bigfoot Used Me to Have a Baby." Grown man cries. I just can't take that serious. And like you just said, these people must be doing this just to have attention because there's nothing else going on in their life. So they figured, well, if I can get attention by just going into this topic, then screw it. Then all the attention, then I can actually get attention. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Um, but I guess for my last thing real quick, Katie. Well, a couple things, but the first one is I know we sort of were talking about your book. One last time, it's the Water Horse of Lake Champlain, the search, and where can people find it and everything else because I would have delved into it more, um, but I feel like if people went back to the first time we talked, it's almost like we kind of did talk about the book at that point in time, and because of this material that's in it. But I mean, in this case, I feel like talking about that misidentified stuff kind of goes well with that segment of your echolocation that you just caught, which, as you said, is different than the one that you got in I'm sorry, 2014, 2018, or something like that. You said there was a difference in one of them. I know you have too many to for me to remember because of everything else is just so crazy.
Yeah, 2014 was the one I think we were talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, where can people find your book?
Okay, you can find my book, Water Horse of Lake Champlain, The Search, on Amazon. And it's also on barnesandnoble.com as well. And I will have it on my website too. I need to put up an Etsy page with all kinds of champ related memorabilia and stuff like that. I'm working on that as well. Even cryptid stuff, Bigfoot, socks and mugs and all that fun stuff. So I'm working on a store through Etsy as well. I've got too many damn projects. I'm also working on a book, Hello Baby Champ, which is a children's book, and I'm hoping to have that out before Christmas. I wrote it a long time ago. I think we were just talking about that before the show. It was 2016, I believe, something like that. And I just kind of put it on the back burner because I couldn't find anybody as an illustrator that I don't know, I just was really picky on who I wanted as an illustrator. And finally I said, you know what, I'm just going to freaking do it myself. And I did use some CGI recreations that Cindy Jolie did of the champ animals using the sonar that we had gotten in 2019, as well as the eyewitness reports compiled. So it's really interesting to use some of that as well as my digital art that I do as well on the computer. So it's going to be a really unique children's book, and it's really cute. It's about a little girl that meets Baby Champ, and I'm not going to tell too much more about it, but she meets Baby Champ, and they go on an adventure, and it's very educational because it teaches children about the history of Lake Champlain going back millions of years ago to the Champlain Sea. So I think it'll be a hit, and very educational as well, which is really good to teach the children about keeping the lake clean, the awareness of the ecology of the lake as well. So that hopefully will be out before Christmas, and that'll be available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble as well, and probably on my website, which will have a link to my Etsy store. Working on another book too. I have too many projects, like I said, and that one's Lost Treasures, Shipwrecks, and Lighthouses of Lake Champlain. And I'm not sure when that one will be out, but I'm working on that too. My documentary, Lady of the Lake, The Search for Champ, I'm hoping to have out by spring. And the newest documentary that I've been working on, which I'm hoping to get done in a couple of months, is called Mission UFO. It's about the UFO phenomenon. I actually took a trip out to Las Vegas and out to the Valley of Fire and Area 51 and did some filming out there about 6 or 8 months ago. Time goes by so quick. And got some really great interviews with some ufologists, and you'll probably recognize some of the names in the field. Not going to spoil it, but I'm going to be putting the trailer on pretty soon on my Facebook pages under Unclassified Films. That's my YouTube channel. And hopefully I'll get some more subscribers. I'm just building up the channel, so I don't have like a ton of subscribers yet, but I'm thinking and I'm hoping that it's going to take off as soon as I get that trailer up there. So those are my projects, and there's always something coming up. Spring, I'm going to be headed to Loch Ness in Scotland for an expedition for the Centre of Fortean Zoology. And also my other organization, the International Dracontology Alliance. So I'm going to be joining some friends over there in the UK, and we're going to be checking out Loch Ness using the same protocol that I use on Lake Champlain. And we're going to be heading over to Loch Morar, which is a really interesting place and very wild because there's not much population around Loch Morar. And there hasn't been really much work done around Loch Morar as well. So I kind of think that's going to be a promising venture. So those are the plans for for the upcoming season anyway. Yeah, there's more stuff, but that's the gist of it. I've got enough on my plate with that.
So to clarify, because I know you've been saying, your website. So do you mean katyelizabeth.org website?
Yeah, everybody can go to that. I'll have the different links on there, which will go to YouTube, so they can check out stuff on there, and also on my Facebook pages. So they can go to katyelizabeth.org, or on Facebook, they can look up Unclassified Films. That's the other page as well, or Champ Search. I have like a bunch of pages for my different things.
Perfect. Yeah, I will do my best to try to put as many links as possible as well down in the description of this episode as well. So yes, at this rate, Katy, you definitely got a lot going on. So I know we kind of said it a little bit before, but so yeah, in this case, Katy, when you come back next year for Lake Champlain, like, is there something that you want to do differently this time, or do you think like you want to still stick to your sonar, your echolocation method and stuff like that, or do you want to try something different? I guess you don't have to say what it is. Like, obviously, you don't want to give everything away of what you want to do, but I'm just curious. Like, what do you want to do?
Well, I'm definitely going to be continuing what I've been doing. Obviously, with the hydrophone research, it's been successful. So I'm going to definitely be doing that to hopefully get another recording to get to Cindy and do some further analysis. Definitely more with the underwater ROV, which can go down to 350 feet. Hopefully get some sort of visual on that of the champ animals. That would be amazing. And some other stuff that I've been kind of thinking about trying, some outside of the box ideas. It's just I think sticking to what works is definitely going to be promising, because I think when something's working, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
So definitely gathering more data of the echolocations are definite, and going to the same locations, I think that's key. And I'm going to try some other things. I got some things up my sleeve, so I'm going to try those, and not going to say anything, and hopefully if I get some results, maybe I'll reveal what they are. But I'm going to try some different things. I'm always coming up with new ideas, and I think you have to be really in a creative mindset to try different ideas, because I originally, when I started, I always thought of the sonar as being kind of boring and obsolete, and I'm really glad that I kind of went past that, because over at Loch Ness, they did Operation Deep Scan, and they got some targets, but nothing great all the time. And I don't know, just something that I figured, yeah, it's very invasive to their hearing, and they're like, screw you, I'm out of here. And I just didn't think that it was that valuable to the research, but I'm glad that I did it, because I did get results. So sometimes you have to go against what the popular thing is. I always say, like, go outside the box and think of your own path. Go your own path. And that's a lot of times that people don't do. Like with the mockery, it's like, people say, well, don't you find it really flattering? Well, yeah, I guess it's flattering, but it's kind of annoying too. It's like, can't you think of an outside the box idea? I think it's fun to be creative and innovative, and I think when you are creative and innovative, you are unique. We all should be unique. Why the hell would we want to be like anybody else? I
Right.
don't want to be like anybody else. Yeah, I'm weird, and I'm proud to be weird. So there you go.
Perfect. Speaking of outside the box, that reminds me of what I did this past summer when Hubbardton Battlefield was doing their reenactment. I had the I don't know. I just had the bright idea where when I went to go to that, I wanted to go of the day they were actually doing the reenactment, but the way I wanted to do it was I wanted to record it while having an EMF out there because who knows if the EMF spike would have spiked or something like
Oh,
because it was around that
that's a
time.
great idea.
Yeah. I mean, nothing happened. I mean, it stayed 0.0, but I mean, it the way I kind of presented it in the video at the end when nothing really happened, I was just like, well, what if it did?
Well, you know what? You try it again and again and again because it may not happen that time. It's just like what I've gone through over the past 12 years of doing the field research. It didn't happen every damn time, then all of a sudden, bam. So you just keep trying it. You don't know until you keep trying. You got to try
That's
it
right.
all the time, and then you never know. You never know what might pop up.
Exactly. Yeah. So I started to do that because that kind of like you like the whole outside the box is interesting, and I mean to me that felt like no, I've never seen anybody do that, so I might as well do it. So
Exactly. Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, like back in the day, people that came up with new ideas like Edison with electricity, people thought he was nuts. I mean, think
right,
about it. Everybody, an inventor was nuts back in their time, and then later on, they're like, oh, I guess they weren't so crazy, and because
right,
they were thinking outside of the box. And I think that's really important to grow as a person as well. So there's nothing wrong with thinking outside the box. I don't like to follow the crowd. If someone's, it's like when I go to Disney, I used to be all against like, oh, I don't want to go to Disney because everybody else goes to Disney down here. But, I do go once in a while for something out, something different than cryptozoology. And I have a good time. It's fun. And everybody wears like the Mickey ears, but I don't. I'm like, I'm not doing everything else. I'm not doing what everybody else does. And that's just how I've been my whole life. I don't do like the whole trend thing. I always try to have my own style and my own way of doing things. So
exactly. If like you said, if it works, it works. So keep going.
exactly.
But all right, yeah, Katie, I don't want to take any more of your time, and I definitely don't feel like beating it with a dead like a dead horse, unfortunately. But I mean, it was a pleasure to talk to you again. And the last thing I just want to say before I actually wrap up and say goodbye to you and the audience here that are listening. The last thing I just want to just say is like because I noticed it, and I just want to say it here to the audience per se and feel free to chime in after, which is so for those listening, if you are a fan of what Katie is doing with the champ search, and if you love the fact that Katie has captured this stuff, made the new echolocation stuff, which as we were talking about with Cindy Jolie, who was basically saying like, there need to be more data research done with this unidentified reptilian or etc. I'll post up my article that I did about this for Katie and stuff too, under this description too. But I just want to bring out the fact that Katie has a GoFundMe thing where if you want to donate to Katie Champ Search to help her continue this, then by all means, like give her like a couple bucks or something like if you're gonna spend, let's just say for an example here, $4 for a Dunkin' Donuts coffee. What to say? Take that $4 and turn it into $20, and just sacrifice your $20 of getting yourself that extra large coffee for the week, and just give it to Katy so she can get more creative with gear and capture better evidence for all of us. So that way we can finally put the species on the map, sort of, and then we can really help protect it even more.
Yeah, I mean, even just just buying the books, I mean, that's just like such a huge help. I mean, the research vessel and the equipment is super expensive, and I mean, even though I have the equipment, the upkeep of it is like the batteries. Sometimes things break, the memory card stuff, everything is just crazy expensive. I actually did purchase a new research vessel. I think I told you about that. I haven't told anybody else yet, but I did get a newer boat. It's 2014, and the motor is fairly new as well. I figured that it was worth the investment, and it's hard when you have an older boat and you have a lot of mechanical things that pop up, and it can happen with a brand new boat too. But this one is much more roomy. I got kind of annoyed with trying to go up and down into the cabin. The doorway is very, very narrow, and I kept hitting my knee. And I've got sciatica on that one side because I need to get injections for my herniated disc. I'm falling apart, Paul. I'm telling you, I'm falling apart. But,
we all are as we get up there, unfortunately.
Oh my gosh, it sucks getting old, doesn't it?
Oh yes.
So the new research vessel, it's the same size, and it's actually a pontoon boat. It's one level, and what I love about it is that I don't have to deal with bilge pumps or anything like that. It's one level. It's more stable. I have a lot more room for equipment, and I am going to have a custom-built cabin for it. So half of it's going to be a cabin, half of it's going to be open. So, I'll be able to sleep on it the same as I did with Kelpie 2. This will be Kelpie 3. So I'm really looking forward to customizing it. I actually picked out the paint color for it and the gold and the flake for it. It's not gold flake. It's kind of like an iridescent flake, so it's sparkly. So it's going to be kind of pimped out. It's going to be really cool with the Champ decals and stuff. And I'm really excited because it's going to be more economical as well. The other boat had a Volvo Penta engine. As you know, Volvo is a really expensive motor. And all the, you might have to cut this part out when my dog's barking. Sorry.
It's fine. Your dog has the...
Oh my God, some idiot going down the driveway next door. All right, let me go in the other room. Okay, here we go. All right, now I can talk again. So yeah, this will be more economical because the Volvo Penta engine. I mean, Volvo, anything to do with Volvo parts is very expensive too. So yeah, it'll be more economical and probably more dependable since it's newer, and it's just much larger. I can move around and not have to carry all my equipment down into a cabin, and it's just so much easier. So I'm looking forward to getting that up to the lake. And in the wintertime, I can use it down here in Florida as well. I'm going to start doing eco tours and fishing, guided fishing tours as well. So it'll be my little business while I'm down here too. So it'll work out pretty well.
Perfect. Well, again, Katy, thank you for your time again, and hopefully it doesn't take another 2 years and 5 months before we talk again. So
I don't think it will. Hopefully I'll get something this season, and I'm really looking forward to 2025 and the new documentaries coming out, and I will post everything to keep everyone updated so they can watch it, and those will be available probably on Amazon Prime and Roku TV.
Awesome. Well, we'll definitely have to talk a little bit about that then when the time is right. So, so everybody else, thank you so much for joining Katy and I, and check out Katy's stuff and help support by getting her book. And And if you already have the book, then like I said, then just take that $20 that you would pay for Dunkin' Donuts coffee for the week and just give it the $20 to her so she can keep up with all the maintenance of the equipment, I'm gonna call it. So yeah, until next time, everybody, keep your eyes open because you just never know what you're gonna see upon the Lake Champlain, whether it be 1, 2, 3 humps, or maybe you might get that rare opportunity where it's a neck and head coming out of the water.